so you're dermatology.
Yes.
Okay. Where did you grow up here? Did you grow up somewhere else?
No, my accents give me away. No, I'm from Venezuela.
Okay.
Originally, I did med school in Venezuela.
Okay.
Then right after med school, we have to do a year, and then I came here like 20 something years ago. So I wanted to do OBGYN first, and like IVF and reproductive endocrinology. Started following some doctors there, and then thankfully, life takes you to different ways, and started doing research in dermatology.
Okay, when you came here?
When I came.
You came to Miami?
Yes. So I was doing research. I wasn't sure. I was always into, actually 20 years ago or 24 years ago, I was going to do the A4M fellowship.
Okay.
And people were like, you're crazy. That's not for real people. That's for crazy people that can't get into residency, whatever. Go to dermatology, do cosmetic, whatever. And so I started doing research at the University of Miami in the Department of Dermatology. Because I'm a foreign medical graduate, it was like impossible. People are like, forget it, go to family medicine, pick another specialty. And then, I was like stubborn. And they were like, well, this may never happen, but if you work hard, whatever. So I was doing research, and thankfully, because of the research, I got my visa and my green card. Because we did a ton of research in scar, rosacea, skin diseases. So I was there for 3 years, and then I got into surgery for 1 year, like general surgery, and then derm, like 3 years of derm.
So you did University of Miami?
Yeah.
So I love that. So I know a little bit about the foreign medical program as well. So it's so difficult. People understand how hard it is to come here, and the tenacity that you have to get through that. I have 2 dear friends of mine going through that right now.
Where did they graduate from?
One was in, it's like American University in Nicaragua or something.
Or maybe Granada or something.
Yeah, his was in Nicaragua because that's where he had some family from. And then the other one is Cuba. And so those are the 2 I know like firsthand right now that are close to me that are working on it. So hard. So I know, I get it a little bit, but I think that's super amazing. And it's so interesting. So you stuck with one of the hardest specialties.
People are like, can you look for something else? And I'm like, I kind of stuck with derm. For Americans, you have to be AOA, like top of your list. You have to have at least 10 paper published as a med student. So imagine to even be considered.
Right.
Because it's so competitive.
And it's like now it's one of the hottest ones because you all still do well even with insurances. So people, it's one of the ologies, and I'm sure you're on the other side, but the med students now, that's one of the ones they're trying to get into because it pays really relatively well.
You have a good lifestyle, just look at it. You don't have colds. Well, I did colds in the first year because I was in surgery.
Right.
So people were like, why are you doing surgery again? You're going to derm. Like, I like procedures. I like to learn. So you could do either internal medicine or surgery. So I picked general surgery.
Awesome, because you get to work on your hands.
Yeah.
Which is
as an
so
intern,
important.
they don't let you because you're like a slave.
But you still got to see it.
But no, they like me because they were like, you're crazy. You must be, you must have something. Let's bring you in. So they let me be in the surgery. So like melanomas and stuff like that, they put me in. So
I have 2 questions now.
Okay.
Question number 1 is, what was your research on scars and all that? And then how did that transgress and kind of go into your surgical rotation? And then the third part of this, so I lied a little bit by accident, is how does that affect what you do today? Okay. Or does it?
Yeah. So my mentor, Dr. Berman, his main topic was scars and keloids. So the main research we did was on keloids and hypertrophy scars and how to treat them besides the standard care.
It was standard care different now than then?
Well, we tried different things that works. For example, immunomodulation, topical immunomodulation right after you cut them to prevent from the collagen to get disorganized and form the keloid. We did injections. with the, a different technique, how to close the sutures. So that translates into my surgery now, how to do the surgery to prevent hypertrophy scar or hypertrophy scar. So I learned of every type of scar, but mainly keloids. Now that I'm more like energy oriented, meaning lasers and energy devices.
We'll talk offline.
Okay.
No, you can say that now. I'm saying, I want to talk to you.
We'll talk. And so I treat now differently, like with my knowledge from the research I did, so I know how to treat them with energy, which I didn't do in my research. So it's fun and it's very interesting. You can see, you can prevent, you can treat, you can give hope to patients.
I mean, for those that aren't medically affiliated or don't have keloid scars, they're not pretty. And depending where they are,
right,
it could be, it could make someone feel super conscientious. I think that's what's also beautiful about derm is you guys can fix things, make people look nicer, change someone's appearance, which usually creates a cascade of other things.
Exactly. That's what I think derm and the evolving derm and practicing derm, you can give patients confidence and like the way they look at themselves. It's not only giving you a little cream, you're giving confidence, you're giving like a new look, you're giving even a new them.
Yeah, I think it's an art form, and that's why there's a lot of different things you can do there.
Yeah.
So you do energy-based things, which are lasers for us.
Well, lasers and all kind of energy. Like I have a bunch. You have to come to the office.
Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna go to the office with a camera. Not right now.
As a patient.
We'll do a tour. It'll be fun. That's great. It's like a little playground. Okay, what other energy things besides the lasers?
So I have lasers. They have different wavelengths, and actually they're very versatile because with 2 different wavelengths, I can do 14 different pulses, and then I can apply to medical conditions like onychomycosis, like fungus, or warts, rosacea, acne, anti-aging, resurfacing acne scars. So it's very versatile. This is one of the lasers that I call Photona. I treat melasma, like dark spots. I treat tattoos, or like remove tattoos. So those are lasers. I have the intense pulse light, which is the IPL. I can treat a bunch of stuff too. Hair removal. With the IPL, you treat also lenticels, the little freckles. You can give a little bit of like luminosity of the skin or like rejuvenation. I have the radio frequency with microneedling. Okay. Which is, I have them, can I say brands?
I don't care.
Okay. Morpheus. Morpheus A. I have a new technology which I love, and I've been loving it. I was one of the first ones that got in Miami. It's called Shockwave, which is more, I would say, advanced ultrasound technology, different than HIFU and different than therapy. With that, now I have the latest technology just for tightening, tightening and rejuvenation. Then now I have for cellulite with the same technology, and for the muscle, like plyometric muscle contraction, which will give you muscle strength and muscle movement. Yeah. Which is help with longevity.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, we have some of the same machines here, so that you can.
You have software too, or
no, we don't. We have these guys.
The MFX.
We are. No, I'm not going to be mean. We have the body contouring. You can say whatever you want, by the way. There's something you want me to edit out. You can edit it. We can edit it out too. So don't feel free to say. Yeah, you can curse. I don't care. I'm trying to be, since you're a lady. So okay, very interesting. You have a whole gambit of things. Yes. Okay, are you doing some traditional dermatology as well on top of that, and that kind of crosses over?
Yes, actually, So the way my practice has been evolving is like I felt the need to do more integrated functional dermatology. So I certified myself on integrated dermatology. Right now, I'm doing a A4M fellowship.
How funny. You come back to it.
Yes. Yeah, 24 years after.
My next question was, what is integrated functional dermatology?
I'll explain in a minute. I'm going to tell you everything I've done please. To get here.
Yeah, of course.
I did an actual longevity program in Argentina last year. Which is like, very formal. And I'm doing right now, it's called root cause dermatology, which is 100% functional with a naturopathic doctor. So my way of seeing dermatology have changed. I am Western medicine, but I have an integrated approach. I still treat general conditions. My 30%, I would say 20% now, of my practice myself, it's medical. I do psoriasis, acne, rosacea, all kind of dermatology, except like lymphomas and stuff like that. And I treat skin cancer. Okay. I have a nurse practitioner. She actually is a dermatologist from Venezuela.
Okay.
She does mostly my medical derm, and I do more like integrative aesthetics.
Okay.
So what is integrative?
Yes, please.
So integrative, like as the name says, you combine your tools from Western medicine, regular dermatology, like biologics in psoriasis, but you have other tools, for example, nutrition, or maybe certain herbal. So maybe certain supplements for acne. I combine a lot of like acne. I do a lot of GI mapping, like looking at your microbiome and your intestinal microbiome to relate it to rosacea, to eczema, to atopic dermatitis.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I never thought about that though.
So I'm one of the, like, I don't know if in Miami it's that common, but I saw people, because I've been doing this for maybe almost 4 years now, and I'm towards more functional every day more, because I see results. But when I get stuck, I tell my patient, these are the options. You know, we can treat you with biologic. If you want to cook, we can treat you with the long run, and then you can still see results. But this is, you know.
Yeah, so we do something similar here, and she's not here today, or I would introduce you. But we use some of these functional patterns and functional opportunities. Okay. You said it better than I did. To integrate and look where the root causes of issues come from, and integrate that with internal medicine.
Exactly.
So I understand what you're saying. I just never heard that for a dermatologist. So that's really interesting. And now it's like, duh, it's sitting right in front of me. It clicks. Like, that makes so much sense. If you know, eating terrible foods and it's messing up your microbiome, it's going to have a cascade of events, not just internally, but dermatologically. So I actually understand. Thank goodness. So
the skin shows you what's happening inside. There are genetic things, like atopic dermatitis, you have a genetic deficiency, but also you have to see what else is there, to how else can you help your patient, you know. And also I'm interested in longevity. So, you know, skin is like what it shows. Like if you're smoking, if you don't sleep, if you're stressed, your cortisol, like your skin looks dull, like, and then I started looking at that as well, and that's what I'm also integrating in my practice.
I feel like hiding. Oh Lord. Okay, so that's I have such a different take on dermatology. So you have so many different tool sets. You have the energy, you have the surgical background and the ability to do that, and the injections, and that's the very quick to the point, and then you can look at it from the root cause. I think that was an interesting explanation. So you can create a full algorithm, treatment protocol, however the patient wants to kind of go across it.
Exactly.
You could give a quick fix and also a long fix, and then integrate both. So that is such a different way to look at dermatology. Yeah. Skin is our biggest organ.
Yes.
Yeah, it's beyond important. Obviously, the way we look at it is how we look and how we feel often, but if other things kind of come in, that also integrates that as well. So you have been practicing on your own for how long?
4 years.
Okay. And so what has changed, and how did you get to be on your own, and what were you doing before, and how has your philosophy changed in the last 4 to 10 years, more or less? So
that's interesting that you asked me that, because I've been practicing like derm for like 12 years. I was with another dermatology, you know, right out of residency, you're scared. You're like, whoa, what am I gonna do? My kids were like, I was pregnant, and the other one was like 3 years old. So I didn't want to work full time, so that was the perfect opportunity. He was mostly surgeon, which, you know, I wanted to do Mohs surgery, and I started doing Mohs surgery, which is a skin cancer surgery, at the beginning of my career. And then I had the opportunity within the same practice to be by myself in another office. So when I was there, I saw a lot of like ways that I didn't like, the way it was like organized, or the way the patient were treated, or the culture, or the experience that the patient were having. And patients thought, because I started my social media, and patients started coming because of me, you know, because of the name of the practice of the other dermatologists, they thought it was my practice. So because of the lacking of organization in certain areas, or like if they couldn't get a hold of the office, or many deficiencies that I saw, I kind of learned how to manage staff. I kind of learned how to, okay, this is the way they do, that's the way I would do. And it got to the point that it was affecting my reputation. So I was like, I'm ready, I'm done. So I bought the first laser, and he was super laid back and super nice. And thankfully, because I was by myself, I learned a lot, and he let me do it. So I'm very grateful that I had that opportunity. So he let me start with the laser. So I had like a satellite office 1 day a week that I didn't work. And I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm gonna do so much better 1 day a week than like the whole month working for somebody else that probably doesn't have the same culture that I want to build for my patients. So starting like, looking for, okay, what I'm transmitting to my patient. I kind of build, and that's one thing that I would recommend to anybody, build your reputation first before building your revenue. Because if they don't trust you, they don't know you, they don't communicate with you, and that's when digital era comes in. And that's how I was able to build up my practice, because I have an audience, and the audience convert in patients and believers. Patients trust you. Patients, they say what you have to say, so you have to be very, responsible of the communication that you give. So that's the way I was transitioned. Because of my social media, I was super confident. I was like, okay, patients love me. They didn't let me tell my patients in the office where I was going. They didn't want to say anything. They didn't want to tell my patient, oh, you're leaving. So I wanted to give a letter or whatever. So I opened my practice, and I was full from day one. It wasn't easy. It was super hard. Because I had to do the whole medical record for insurance. I have to have, in terms of insurance, you need to have, the credentials. That takes time.
Yeah, even though you were just taking it yesterday.
Exactly.
This is the hard part of leaving. You still have to get it now again.
Exactly.
For yourself.
Exactly.
You took Advent yesterday, not beating up on you, Avmed, but the next day you're reapplying.
You need to reapply from zero, Medicaid.
I know someone going through this in Boca Raton. They're still working on getting all the plans.
It takes forever. And, I didn't want to go concierge because I was afraid that, I was starting by myself, even though I knew the patients like it, I knew patients follow me. Patients didn't know where I was, and I have all kind of, at that time, my age range was like from 2 to 95, and the elderly patient doesn't follow me in social media, so their kids were like, oh, this is Dr. Viera, they look for her.
Nice.
So patients that I have diagnosed melanoma for 7 years, they want to stick with me, So that was the hardest part, but social media helped me because they could find me. Even Google, so for 4 months in Google, I still had the other address. So it was, it's a lot of different little things that you start learning and building up, and how to market yourself, and be trustful to your patient, to your audience, and to your patients. And that relationship that you have, and that transparency is that, I think that's what patients, well, at least my patients, are looking for.
So I think there's definitely a pattern here with the people I've interviewed. And some of the things that we talk about is build your reputation. That's before your revenue. I love that, by the way. Not stealing, but the second part was these, there was a following. They were treating patients well. If you treat patients well and you start to make a name for yourself, you will find a way, if you ever decide to evolve into have your own practice, you can do it, right? So that's kind of what happened. We're actually going through that right now. I told you we added a new physician here.
Oh, good. Okay.
There's a little bit of a struggle, and there was a little bit of a power play there. But at the end of the day, the patients are going to find her eventually, right?
Yeah.
So, but we're literally going through that right now. But that's okay, because the hard work kind of pays off. So you were kind of constrained in what you could do before, and now you kind of talked about what you do now, and you went out on your own. You said it was hard. So what part was hard about it? Besides the insurance.
Where do I start from? Okay, I started with a partner. It's a long story. I started with a partner, it didn't work. 2 weeks later, I was like, I can't do this.
Within 2 weeks, you knew. That's good though. That's really good.
It's good and bad.
Because a lot of people do that, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. And a lot of people do that because it's easier to go in with somebody.
Yeah, of course.
Because you have a partner in the game and some skin in the game. I've seen a couple of dual practices opening in our field lately, and I'm like, all right, like, it's interesting because over time you may have different visions in this.
It's like a marriage without being in love.
It's
like,
a complete marriage.
Yes.
And then you had a vision, which I also want to go back to, and that may or may not work with that person's vision.
At all.
And so you need to be even more, I think people that are married for a long time have a very good communication before they even get married and continue that.
Right.
And you're getting in this business because you're a little bit, you've not done it before, so there's a little bit of fear there. And so you're like, man, come with me, let's go do this, and we're gonna rule the world. And then you're like, then you realize you're not aligned with your partner.
Nope. So,
I've seen this before.
Well, the thing, what happened is like, he wasn't here, he was in Jacksonville. He wanted to have a satellite office in Miami. I'm thinking, this is my office. He's thinking, oh, you're kind of like my employee. So it didn't work.
Thank God it was 2 weeks though.
Thank God. So, but on a Sunday night, I'm like, okay, we're done. Monday morning, I have 27 patients scheduled. They canceled my patients. They took out my phones. They took the insurance. Patients were like coming in. I'm like, I cannot take your insurance. You have to pay cash. I'm so sorry. So it was like a super struggle. Thankfully, I found this group of dermatologists, kind of an MSO, but it's not an MSO.
Yeah.
Which is you're independent, but they help you with the credentialing and they help you. So because of the medical aspect of my office at that time, it worked perfectly.
Okay. How long did it take you to on-ramp that?
3 months.
Okay.
Which was fast.
That's really fast, actually.
That's really fast.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a long time, but that's very fast.
It was amazing. But those 3 months, I struggled like the patients, and that's what I was like, I should go concierge, because none of the patients were like, don't worry, Dr. Viera, I want to see you. How much do I have to pay? I don't care. You don't take my insurance. And I'm like, should I keep doing this or should I, but I stuck with insurance, and I'm still are, but I'm thinking that the way I'm practicing and the way I'm seeing how my practice has evolved, I think I'm probably going to change it.
Yeah, or even maybe a hybrid, since you have some help.
Yeah.
We'll do a site visit.
Yeah, well, you need to, really.
We'll do a site visit and run through some of your ideas.
You need to.
So, okay. So you've had it's quite an awesome story. You come from outside the country, which is not easy to become a physician here. You get into dermatology. Practically impossible, even if you're an American student, not coming from another country. You have to go through the program to get your license transition here and all these things. And you had to do some research, because it's not like you come here and they give it to you. No, not even close. And so you go through all that. You have to retest as well back. I know some things may have changed. Did you have to retest?
No. We're doing like continuing medical education, but not.
Okay, thank goodness. It's a little different now.
But it's fun because you kind of get up to date.
And so then you join and then you break off on your own. So you kind of done it all. And now you're considering revamping
I think I'm starting.
That's awesome.
You're always evolving. And in this field, you can't get stuck in one thing.
Yeah, and dermatology is, again, one of these cool things that evolves so fast. And because you have all this experience with these machines and these energy machines and everything, and you can see the difference and you know how it works.
Right.
And that's great. And they're always trying to come out with new things. Sometimes it's new, sometimes it's not new.
That's why you kind of have
features on top of.
You have to see that ahead of time and don't get too excited with the new things. Because you have to look ahead. Okay, this is gonna get outdated in 2 years. Let's think about what really works, and it's gonna the lasers. One of the lasers that I have, they call it the Rolls Royce of lasers, because they're so solid, and even if you need to upgrade it, it works. And it's the same treatment that you're gonna do. You can innovate a little bit here and there, but it works. So. And
so you transition this, and I think that's important too. And even though when you find success, you have to constantly evolve and see how you can continue to help people, maybe evolve the way you treat your patients or see them. I'm not saying you're not treating them well, but you're treating them a certain way, you're taking insurance now, and you're considering maybe evolving into a concierge kind of membership. So the way the experience is a better way to put it with your patients, you're constantly have been thinking about that. So you left the previous practice, I'm not trying to keep going back there, but I still have a question. And it was about the experience. So you kind of thought about the experience through your head. Obviously, you ran into some landmines and roadblocks with the insurance, even though you got it really fast and all these things. Did you write that out when you were still there, or did you just have this vision and you're like, this is what it's going to look like, this is how it's going to be?
I had it in my mind. Like, I knew how I wanted, like, actually, I knew my office. I had my office in my mind. The way I want to run it, I wasn't clear, but the way I was going, it was clear. I was a mission, like, I have my vision, my mission, and my values. And for me, values like precision and purpose is the most important thing. So I have that very clear. Like, you know, I want to be precise. I want to have a purpose. I want my patients to find, you know, confidence that, you know, they can trust me, they can trust in the result that I can deliver, not only in aesthetics, but in their treatment, and, you know, and build that trust, and also that they don't feel abandoned. Because I feel like, because I'm from Venezuela, and the way the Venezuela, you know, medical health, like the way that we as a physician work with the patients is very different. It's very one-to-one, very familiar, very, you know, I can do that here, but I try my best to not lose my essence. And that's, I think, how my niche is. Like, okay, it's my personality, is where I'm coming from, that stuck with me, and my patients look for that. Even if they're not Venezuelan, I have a huge Venezuelan community, but I have a lot of non-Venezuelan patients that look for the same thing. You know, and that's what probably I had clear in my mind that I wanted to build. Now, it has evolved, because at that time I didn't know I was into functional. A lot of personal things happened that got me into that. So you told me what happened at the beginning. So 2 months, like, I opened November, and January, at that time, my husband was diagnosed with cancer, with like sarcoma. My kids were like 6 and 8, and I was with a new practice with all these challenges, and I couldn't stop working because at that time I didn't have the nurse practitioner. So, and it was like a really bad cancer, and he had to go through chemo, hospitalization, radiation, surgery, etc. And I was like, okay, what do? I need to build a strong team to support me. And it was hard to find good people that you can trust, you know, that you can, like, okay, I'm here, I can only have one neuron for my work and another neuron for all the problems that I have. I need you to do your work and do it right. So train people, trust people. The process of interviewing people is so important to build that team. So I think that's one of the things that helped me going through so much personal, like, problems, like a really deep problems that some other people couldn't survive, you know. But thankfully, I have the support of my family, I have the support of my team, and thankfully he's good now. But it was a challenge at the beginning. Yeah. And because of that, I got into functional. Because after he finished, he did like a 9 months of epigenetic regimen with nutrition, even with a functional oncologist. Like, you know, you want to rebuild after the chemo wipes out everything, the good and bad.
It takes out everything.
Exactly.
It's like a bomb.
So that was an experience that helped me kind of like see derm and medicine in a more broad spectrum.
Well, thank you for sharing that for me.
No, it's okay. But I think it's important because it humanizes you.
It is, and I know of a dear friend of the family that lost their brother to sarcoma, and they have a little foundation. I'm not sure if they're still keeping up with it, but
so that's how I got to like this interest.
But I think I'm not even going to do this justice the way I'm about to say this, because that was just so beautiful. But life kind of threw some things at you, but it guided you in a way that brought you exactly where you are today. And you're very thankful for that. And it aligned with your values, and you found a way to get, and it's always a constant struggle. We talked about this before, finding the right staff you can trust that align with your vision And so I think people, you know, I don't think physicians really think about what is my vision, what's my mission, what am I here to do? And that can evolve, by the way, as you said, or it can be everlasting. You're just adding different tools to it. And that's one of the things that I've worked with a few physicians as well, is like, what are you trying to accomplish here? What is your offer? What are you trying to accomplish? And who do you want to be to your patients?
Exactly.
And if you can do that and then figure out how this model works, you can tweak with it, you can work it. It may not always work out exactly how you want, but you're going to learn a lesson, and eventually it'll lead to something good. And that's like a little bit just believing that things are going to happen the way they're going to be, or utilizing the things that you go through to make the best out of them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great example of how you did, because that's a lot. I cannot fathom. You open a practice, you have a huge family issue, you have 2 kids that they're at the age they kind of understand, but they don't. But they don't. Yeah, it's a lot for them. And I was gonna say, you didn't. I don't know if you told them. Everybody's different on that, and I think I probably take your way on that on the way. You would hope for the best outcome, and then you know, and take it that way. But that is a complete amount of stress.
It was a lot, and my adrenal glands were like not functioning after a year, but then I recovered. And also I got interested in myself, because I was like, listen, I need to be good for my kids, and I need to learn how to, you know, eat and how to sleep. So I got my aura. So I started working. I started working on all of that, because it taught me, like, listen, you cannot give for granted your health. And you're like, it's very close to you, so you need to start from yourself. And if you do that, if you show this to your patient, and you have a lifestyle, and you kind of preach and what you do, they believe you and they see you. Oh, you're healthy. You're energetic. I'm like I don't stop, because that's the way. But I like it, and I learn, and they see my patients trust me, because they see I'm learning all the time. I'm getting up to date. I talk to them a lot, so they become friends. Most of them. Not all of them, but
you can't make everyone happy. If you can, you're doing something wrong. You're not doing something right. It's just the law of numbers.
My MAs were like, Dr. V, you need to be like, please don't talk too much. And I'm like, okay. Leave me alone.
What was I going to say to that?
You want to be efficient too.
You do.
But,
I think, so one of the things I didn't tell you that I'm starting to kind of go after with some of these conversations is, I think physicians have allowed, not purposefully, other people to take over medicine to a certain extent, especially online. Now, you have a great online presence, but there's a lot of people out there saying, the doctor's this, and the doctor, and kind of like screaming. So one of the things I say is, there's nothing more that can do best for your wellness, the way you eat, the way you take care of yourself, if you can find someone that has the same belief system and aligns with your values. So whether it's your skin or internal medicine, whatever it is, there's a bunch of physicians out there that have this are starting to get a platform. You are too, but like physicians are starting to grab this platform and start to take what I call take medicine back, because people are looking for solutions and they haven't been able to find them in our medical system.
Exactly.
And why?
Instead of prevention.
It's
just like.
And so that's 2 things, and not everybody can practice that, right? Because we've talked about a little bit, like, insurances don't only allow it. Like, I'm not going to take over this podcast for primary care and what insurance pays per patient. I've said it before, somewhere between, it could be as low as $3 up to maybe $100 per patient, you know, at best. And I'm probably being nice.
No, you're
AvMed.
nice. Yes.
And all the other insurance companies, I'm messing around with you, AvMed.
Right.
But it's important that people start to understand it's not just the apps and the whoops and the Oura rings. That's part of what you need to do. The second thing is, we're looking at prevention.
Exactly.
So you need to put some skin in the game as a patient.
Exactly.
Like, talking to you, I just realized there's 3 dermatology things I've been pushing off, and I'm in this game. You know, like, I'm in this game, and I'm like, what are you doing, silly? And I'm like, okay, we'll talk off camera. But you have to take care of yourself. You have to prevent the things that happen. And it's going to a physician preventively and maybe paying a little bit. If you're going to spend all this money on these other things, what's better, go out to a $500 dinner, or going and paying someone so you can be healthy to go out to that $500 dinner for the next 10 years?
Well, you're investing in your health. Like, you need to invest in your health, but people don't see it that way. And as you said, well, like, you know, looking at all of this, people have no idea of like what they can do. Well, we're doing a lot of nutrigenetics and the longevity program that I'm starting building. So we're not giving you a diet. We're not giving you, we're telling you how to change your lifestyle in order to prevent, because you're not, you know, cursed to have cancer if you have a genetic predisposition. You can change your genetics. That's why epigenetics exists. So that's why I think prevention is the key, because if you know where you're at by like your genes and your pathways, okay, you're gonna have dementia if you keep drinking. You have an oxidative stress, you need to do this. You have to, you know, whatever. I'm talking about too technical, but if you can prevent from those pathways to continue being affected, you're gonna prevent diseases.
Right.
And that's what we're doing. I'm doing this with we have a program called Radiance, Skin Radiance, that's a skin longevity program inside that.
I like that a lot, actually. I actually interviewed a geneticist MD once, and it's not written. There's a risk factor if you have the gene.
Exactly.
And what do you do and how you take care of yourself? And we're empowering physicians to be preventative by having these, and there's still so many genes we don't know about,
right.
But we're empowering physicians to help you be preventative.
Exactly.
We do genetics here as well, so completely familiar with that. And as that continues to come out, and some things are a little more complicated, and we work with other physicians
right.
on that, and we kind of integrate how do we bring the health together. But you have to take and put skin in the game, not just from a financial means, but you have to also take control of your healthcare
right.
and see what that looks like. If I come see you and you make my skin feel good for a day, if I'm gonna go have soda and croquetas and fried chicken for the next 3 weeks, I'm gonna call you, my skin looks crappy. No, that's on me. And I think also us as patients, we don't take responsibility. We're just like, well, it didn't work. And I'm like, what did you eat for the last
right.
2 weeks? How did you take care of
because
yourself?
Because they don't know. You
slept?
need to teach them.
Yeah, and that's the other problem is when you're not making anything per patient. And even though I give you give me the best insight possible, if you don't have time, you don't have time. And it's very unfortunate, especially in certain specialties or non-specialties, there's not a lot of time. So it's just a quick fix. So you need to find someone, it's like bringing a team together for your healthcare.
Exactly.
You know, and understanding how to bring that team all the way together.
That's true.
Well, we've covered a lot of stuff. So what else do you want to talk about?
What's the future of AI?
Oh, you're hitting me in a sweet spot. I was at an AI lunch today.
Into my practice.
Okay. There's very interesting things in derm.
I know, but I don't know them. So
oh my goodness. So I'll send you 2 machines. I don't know. I'm not a derm.
Okay.
Okay. It's like, you know.
I forgot, Hello Health or something like that. They're like MAs, you know, artificial MAs. They do everything for you. But I need to kind of like, this is one of the things that I kind of like feel like I have too much stuff or automate. I want to automate, how do you say?
Automate.
Some of the things that can make it easier for the patient or more efficient.
Yeah, we're still in the beginning stages of a lot of this. So one of the problems that is medical period is the integration of software.
I know.
So we're still faxing here, guys.
My program is not friendly. It's a great program for derm, but I don't know if we're...
So you're thinking more from an efficiency of the staff standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah, we're thinking the same thing.
Okay.
And so that's where my curiosity comes in. So I actually was at a lunch today with a bunch of guys in AI, and we're always just throwing ideas at each other. Okay. I think the things that are going to be the easiest to probably knock down first, and there'll probably be a lot more coming out. Obviously, it's moving so fast. Is kind of patient communications. One of them that's pretty good right now. The other one is notes, obviously, but Dragon and all these things are getting so good in dictation and stuff like that. And they're getting a lot, there's even programs further than that. That's like, it learns how you do your notes and then it gives you suggestions, kind of like when you're typing into Siri or whatever, or it gives you suggestions.
And you can put that in the software.
And it'll start. Now it depends, that's the problem. Does it integrate with your software? This is the constant problem in medicine. So I don't know what you're
It's
using?
versatile enough. I use Emma, like ModMed.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that one.
It's a good program, but it's very medical. But it works for cosmetic derm. I have it just because of the group that I'm with has it, and it's really good for billing and insurance and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I think we're just on the break of that. Now, the other things I've seen, and this is a conversation I had at dinner a couple weeks ago, is what's going to be interesting with derm is like you'll be able to see what, like earlier what could be coming out, what could be wrong, what kind of things you can watch moles change and things of these nature, like just by taking pictures.
Well, I went to an IMPS. I don't know if you're familiar. You should go. So it's like the world, like it's in Paris in January. It's the biggest aesthetic meeting, international. So I try to go every 2 years because I like to bring ideas and international perspective. They had, like, I remember this was maybe 3 years ago, like a system that I was like, oh my God. Like they give you a 3D, so I was like, I need to do an app that the patients kind of like, scan their hand, because I have patients all over, from Spain, Madrid, like, and I said, listen, I can't do a consultation if I don't see you, and like seeing you without like seeing you in 3D is hard. So, I think some of that we're lacking here. I have a good system. It's called Quantifier. What it does is like, it shows the patient the lack of volume and pigment and all of that, and then before and after. So the patient sees the result objectively, and I can show it.
Before you do anything to them?
No, before you just show it. Listen, you're lacking volume here, and then you can show other patients how the difference, and then they can see themselves. But that's what I want, to have one that I can project them. Oh, this is what you're gonna look like with 3 syringes, or with 2 syringes, or with 2 sculptures, or with whatever.
That's interesting. I got to think about that one. But so the new physician just started a couple weeks ago. I told you this. And so we have even the picture that she had of her previous employer at UM. It was okay. It was good. It was really nice.
Like a headshot.
Her headshot. I was like, huh. So we took some pictures, obviously, when she joined. I took 10 pictures, cropped them. Took me 10 minutes. Put in AI. I have 100 pictures of her in different outfits. I'm going to show them to you. And as soon as I'll show it to you, I promise. I was like, so that's the picture we utilize.
I need that.
And so it's amazing. No. Sorry, photographers. So it was amazing. Yeah. I was like, I was baffled. And the only thing is I put, and there's a doctor one. So I put doctor, and there's a coat, and then scrubs. Some of them had like letters here, and it wasn't her name. And maybe, I don't know if I could have uploaded her name because it didn't ask me. So, but I can erase it very quickly. It's super simple. I had like 10 pictures I could use, so I haven't even gone back to edit it. It is spectacular.
Oh my God.
It looks just like her. Like, so there's something here, and I think it'll only get better. So you should definitely stay curious there. And
I'm always thinking, if I have the idea, somebody else already has. So there's somewhere cooking, I just need to go to Korea or China or something.
Rob was with me, and I ran into someone, and I've been talking to him about this idea. It's in this world that we're talking about now.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, it keeps developing, and I'm not slowing it down, and I've started asking the right people the right questions.
Okay.
And I ran into someone, and they're like, oh, let me show you this company. I was like, very similar. Like, it's my idea, like sort of my idea. And I was like, oh my goodness.
You see?
I was like, okay, but it wasn't though. And it was, right? And so I think one of the things, coming back to what I said, and I don't think this is totally from a negative place, is all these things, and people are trying to chat GPT their health, and there's something there.
Oh, okay.
There's some cool things you can do there, and I played around with it too, and I'm very fortunate that I have access to people, and they can tell me, and it's gives you some good answers. And it's the software people trying to come in to this business.
Right.
But they or hiring people like you, medical doctors, to try to give them even more insight, but they already come to you with the idea. I think there's a good opportunity coming from a medical person to the software people, and it comes back to having medicine come back to physicians and help patients. And what I do like about it is over time, if it gets even easier where you can get a lot of answers and quickly, because not everybody can go to you, not everybody can come to us, depending on insurance, if you just,
triage.
To triage some things, to get some people some answers, because everybody's so frustrated going to the urgent cares or the ERs. The
system is
very broken.
It's broken.
It's very broken.
Sorry, because I've seen it. I've seen it in the hospital. I worked in the hospital for 4 years because I was doing residency and private practice, and it's broken, and it's frustrating for the patient and for us. Because I see both aspects. As a patient, because of what happened with my ex-husband and my mom. My mom's 82. Thankfully, she's super healthy, and she's like the longevity model. But I see she struggles sometimes, like things that is not even her fault,
It's still complicated. So I think that's going to be some interesting things. I think getting appointments at the hospitals, technology is there already.
Right.
Nobody picks up the phone. They make you do this text message at one of the universities here. And now it's changing and getting better, but just to even get called back for an appointment, you have to go through this. And it's not great for everybody, but now they can train these models to talk. So when your mom calls, they can walk through it, they can make an appointment, and it's so much, you actually get to talk to someone that's actually probably nicer than the person you're gonna talk to anyways. So, and we've been looking into some of these things too, but the one thing we keep running into is the integration with our current systems. And so I'll find a solution, it doesn't integrate. So we probably have like 10 to 15 technologies here that we utilize. And they don't all talk. And we changed our EMR, and there's ways to integrate it because we have an EMR with an open API. And so we can do that, but you still have to hire somebody to do that for you. So yeah, I think that's gonna be, but those mundane tasks that take you away from your patients, I feel like we're at the end of that in the next couple of years. And we're gonna start to see those tasks eliminated. And what you'll be able to do is either change what your employees do to take better care of your patients, or you may need less. And that's okay, because there's still a humongous job shortage in medicine. So there's always going to be a job for good people.
That's true.
So,
and finding good people.
but I think that's another problem. But this is where AI hopefully will help us sooner than later. It is so hard to find good help. And so
that's when my gray hair started coming. Because it's like when you think you're stable, and then all of a sudden, okay, the statistician leaves, and she's there you don't it's hard to maintain. I always tell them, listen, there is a table that has 4 legs, and if they're one missing, the table I need you. Even if you're not the doctor's nobody if you're not here. So it's hard.
So that's the downside of running a business. You're at the beck and call of that. And that goes from front desk all the way to physician.
Yeah.
We've had problems from every position.
Yeah.
It comes back to alignment sometimes, and then sometimes it's just hard finding good help. Because you can find people are aligned, and that's awesome. There doesn't seem to be as many people that are loyal anymore, no matter what you do, whether it's financial, what you give them everything, they're still not pleased, and they're just not loyal.
And respectful, because sometimes they just entitle. And you have to teach them, listen, you're a part of this. I'm not your boss. You're part of this family. And when you change that, I think they start feeling it. And I try to bring them, listen, this is my second family. You guys are going to be here with me 8 hours a day. If you don't like me and I don't like you, it's going to be hard. And I like to have fun. I put music when I work. We try to gather. There are difficult days, or there are no always happy days. But if I don't have people that like my culture, that as you said, align, or they want to treat my patients the way, I want to build a culture and experience for my patient that when they do a review, they don't only review me. they review the experience.
Right.
And that's what I try to tell them. Listen, we're here and you're my presentation part, like in the front desk. The way that you treat them, the way that you say hi, the way you say goodbye, that's Dr. Viera's office. It's not me. It's you. So that's the way I try, and I don't know if it works or not. I have staff that's been there the whole time, and I have other rotations. As you said, they're not loyal anymore, and I understand people need to get what is best for them. But you know, I feel like I'm a very flexible, fair, and good person with my staff. So I feel that sometimes.
Yeah, and from our side, I'm going to tell you that's true. All of that's true. No matter how well you treat, you're writing letters for medical school. Or we hire a lot of people that want to be nurse practitioners, PAs in medical school. We've had a lot of positive experiences with the vast majority of them, and almost all of them actually. So that's been really good. But we also know they're only here for a year or two.
Right.
And that's okay, because that seems to be doing pretty well for us. But yeah, even with that, I didn't say all of them, you know, so exactly. And even, you know, we write beautiful letters and we really do want them to move on it. We want them out of here.
That's what I tell them. Listen, I like smart people because I don't have much patience to teach. So, you know, when they're smart, I expect them to continue evolving, you know, but at least if you're going to leave, give me time.
Yes. Hey, that's awesome. I want you to move on. I want you to evolve, but give me, hey, I'm thinking about this. I'm probably going to leave. Okay, cool. Give me like 2 months.
I'll help you find somebody, or, you know.
Yes.
You know, we're here to, like, everything comes around, like the good and the bad.
And why not keep that good relationship?
Exactly.
You know, and so when I did medical devices, I haven't told you anything about this, but I did medical devices for a long time. Yes, I didn't tell you the second part. We just started recording. And I was so tired at the end because of the company I was with, my boss, and I was so tired that I just couldn't, and these people were in my life for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And I was just like, I can't talk to anyone. And now in the last couple of years, I'm just like, hey, how are you? Hey, hi. Because I miss them. I do. And I had such wonderful relationships. They made such a heavy impact in my life. I'm not going back. Right. They're like, oh, you're coming back in the game. I go, no, actually, I'm not. Right. One of them I just texted from my mom. I'm like, hey, can you see my mom? Would you mind seeing my mom? One of them randomly is my mom's doctor for pain. And then I'm asking a neurosurgeon to see my mom as an opinion. And it's just like, I'm like, man, these just good people. And we're here to make impact, but we're also here to have good relationships. So you gotta, when you're working with someone like you, or you're working somewhere here, that, hey, we have X amount of people. I handle a lot of things. If I leave, there's a huge gaping hole because you're part of this family, part of this team. And so like a death. So it's like, just try to be conscientious of that. Try to be good. And if you have someone like you that's understanding, of course, you're like, I don't want you to go. Can I make you stay? That's good business. However, if that doesn't work, just, hey, no, it's not going to work. I need to do this for me. Okay, cool. Please give me a couple months so we can figure out. Can you train the next person? And you're still, and then it's like, oh my God, you stay with that person for forever if you want.
Exactly.
And it's a nice relationship.
That's the way I feel, and that's the way I try to make them feel. Because if they have a sense of like they belong to the place, and you give them like, you're important and genuine. Like, I'm very sincere, and I don't tell them just to be with me. It's just like, if you're gonna be here, it's because you want to be here. I don't want you to hate your job, you know? So, but it's hard, and it's about, like, you know, right now I'm stable, and like, I need to know.
I'm not gonna
because it's being like a roller coaster, but it teaches you that nobody's like that you can keep going without, you know, you can fill that hole.
You have to figure it out.
You figure it out.
You figure it out. Short staff, not short staff. It's not fun. What I think is it's an interruption of energy. The wrong person really interrupts the energy.
Oh, 100%.
We've seen that too. I mean, you've been 4 years, so we're approaching 12. And I'm still learning too many lessons.
Wow.
So many lessons.
Until
you finally get the lessons. I think you're on the fast track. I want you to know.
Oh my God. Like, that's why you have to keep humble in your head and like, because, you know, life punches you.
Yeah.
And if you're not ready, and if you're not humble enough, like they're gonna put you right there, right now, easy. So you have to kind of like wave and be resilient and try to have the tools to overcome, difficult times. And believe me, to be a business owner, entrepreneur is great because you have a lot of satisfactions. But if you're not ready to face like distrust or betrayed or all of the above, and you take it personally, I'm sorry, you're screwed. Like
I used to take it personally, so I was screwed for a while. But you're going to go through a lot because you learn the hard way. There's no other way. Life is not all easy, and people always see the bright side. And I listen to some podcasts around this. It's not all great. It is great because you get all these advantages, but there's a lot of war wounds and scars, going back to scars and keloids, that are underneath the surface and are deep in our soul because we're fighting. And
you need to heal that.
The first time you're like, oh my God, this person. And then it's like, no, actually that was for the best. Right. It's easier looking backwards. And this is life in general. Life is easier looking backwards. You don't know why you're going through these hardships at first, but going through and hearing your story, I can see it, but when you go through it, I wouldn't be able to see it either. And then you're like, okay, cool. I'm not going to do that again. You keep adjusting and just remembering why you're doing this, right? You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your patients, and you'll figure it out. And you'll just continue to figure out. And the curiosity is what leads to the evolution of the business and constantly upgrading it, trying to find people. Sometimes people that were really good for your business were good for a phase, and then you bring people in and it elevates. And you'd still probably, I know some of them I'd still offer back. There's people that have gone to PA school and nurse practitioner school. I would find a job for them here if they wanted one. Even if I couldn't find a job for them, we'd find a job for them because they were so detrimental into our growth. But yeah, it's also, coming outside, this is all positive in some things. I think just people have become a little numb. And people don't have the same, like people just are like trapped in this interesting like Instagram world. And it's just, they don't see how people you can affect or how you can have a positive impact at any level with your patients. And you're right, from the time we answer the phone, answer an email, time you walk in to the time you leave, that's all part of the experience.
That's a process. You have to kind of like have the process well thought and teach your staff, okay, I want them to remember us, not only me, because, when you see it, thank God I have good reviews in Google, but maybe one review, you can please it, everyone.
No,
and there was a patient, actually, I was about to fire because he was very aggressive. Not with me, but with one of my staff. And I didn't fire him because thankfully he left to another.
It worked out. It worked out for you.
Yeah, the universe kind of like helped me out. But he gave us a very bad review because of that person and my staff. And that, I was like, listen, this is the type of things that is out of our control. Mm-hmm. You do your best. She was completely, respectful and everything, but he was just, crazy.
And this happens too with patients. And so we have been talking about that for a little while now. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because some of the people that created the most chaos in here are no longer here.
Right.
And we're fortunate enough to be in a position now that it's okay. There's a point in time in your business where every patient counts, especially in concierge, because you don't take insurance, or we don't take insurance. There's other models that do. We'll have a longer conversation about this, but so we don't. So every patient's a big portion of revenue. When you just start it, it's rough. It can be rough. So I think it's been, sometimes the universe works itself out without those conversations. Even sometimes with employees, it's also worked itself out. Sometimes we allow it to, at least in my perspective and my history and what we've done, sometimes we allow it to go too far. And I think we've learned those lessons.
Me too.
But
you learn from that too.
And when you start aligning things, you see the things just moving in an incredible direction. And we've been very fortunate that consciously we did it too. And even subconsciously, the people we've been hiring this last year, and some of the people from before have all just continuously elevated it. And I'm like, oh, this can be better. I knew it, and it's getting better just naturally, organically.
You see more clear what you're looking for.
Yeah.
and you know what you want to, exactly to be aligned. And one thing that I tell my staff always to be empathetic. Patients sometimes come here with a big bag of problems, and they take it on you just because they're unhappy, they're depressed. And I have a case that I'm going to share like very quickly. She was coming for a lip filler, and the two girls that I love at that time, they are no longer with me. They were like, Dr. V, don't do anything today. And she's like super aggressive. She's upset. She's kind of like, oh. And I'm like, but why? She's not like the perfect patient, but she likes me. She was like a European. So when I come in, I said, let me talk to her because something's going on. And so I started talking and said, like, I only said, what's wrong? What's up? What happened to you? And she was like, I'm okay. Are you okay? Are you really okay? And she's like, started crying. And she's like, my son, it's like, we found him on the street with drugs. We have to put her in a clinic and another. Like, she gave me the whole story. And I'm like, you see? Like, you just need to be empathetic. Maybe don't take it personally. And I did the lips. She was happy. I made her day. And,
And she was able to divulge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw something recently. It's not that hard to be nice. And it's like, maybe the person that cut you off needs to be somewhere more important than me. Maybe the person that, and I was like, it's interesting, And
you see beyond that. You see it, maybe, but not everybody does. So.
I used to drive around for a living. I had road rage. That's not good. Not a good combination, by the way. Road rage and driving for a living. And then over time, I was just like, I started laughing. I just started laughing. I would laugh and people would be mad, yelling at me. I started laughing. I would wave at them and they would be like, we would just diffuse the situation. But it took me a long time to get there because it was affecting me. So sometimes, unfortunately, that's how we take things out on other people when we're stressed, and you never know, but you're able to.
Never know.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that when they start with me, I said, listen, people come with the bag. You don't know what's in the bag. You don't care about the bag. You just treat them well. And don't take things personally. And I think it works.
It does. And, we're so quick, just instinctively, genetically, to make a quick judgment. Danger, fight or flight, right? And we don't even know we're doing it.
Right.
And so, one thing is just to slow it down. Just try to be nice as best as possible. And then if you can't be professional, as nice as possible. And respectful. And let them do their thing.
Let them.
There's a book about that, Mel Robbins.
I know.
And then I need to read it. I love her. And it's just, the only power you have is how you act and how you react. Right. And so I think that's important. So treat patients well in that. So we'll talk some more AI. I want to hear some of your stuff. We're going to probably edit that out just to make sure her $1 billion idea doesn't get taken. But it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh, me too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.